So, as stated before, my partner, we stand on the affirmation of banning GMOs, and I'll be going over 3 main points which contain the health effects and the relationship between GMOs and human health. And the second point will be how these GMOs affect negatively our economy and other countries as well. And also the third point, which I'll lastly state, is the lack of regulation within the FDA. So my first point would get off into the health effects of these GMOs, and I'd like to start off with saying, as stated by Rima E. Leibel, MD, Medical Director of the Natural Solutions Foundation, 75 to 80% of all U.S. food contains enabled GM ingredients. Now these ingredients, they're from these GMOs, and by making these GMOs, they're thrown in these special chemicals which, when consumed, humans don't have the enzymes to break down or rid of these toxics or lethal materials. Now, some of these effects come to diseases such as the Morgellons disease. This was first described when a woman's 3-year-old son developed rashes and intensely itchy sores which produced weird, multicolored fibers emerging from his skin. Now these fibers, they're actually, it's been studied, a study of the fibers showed that they contain DNA from both a fungus and a bacterium, which are used in the commercial preparation of genetically modified foods and non-food crops, such as cotton. The fibers themselves are primarily cellulose, which the human body cannot break down or manufacture. So the only way that this was ever brought into the body was through the consumption of GMOs. Now, another research done by Ahmad Kilani says he was able to break down the 2 fiber samples and extract the DNA. He found that they belonged to a fungus, and even more provocative finding is that biochemist Vitaly Sitovsky discovered that the fibers contain a substance called agrobacterium, which, according to New Scientist, is used commercially to produce genetically modified plants, which further concur that these GMOs do cause these defects. The testing of these GMOs are actually, for some companies, are very unethical. Like, for one, the Tufts University School of Medicine tested some GM foods that weren't even tested by animals on 6 to 10-year-olds. These children were also bribed for taking the test by they were given pencil bags, and other foods and snacks to give like a good rating. Further, with the unethical tests and trials, stated by Derek Markham, a journalist for Equal Child's Play, it is completely immoral to feed this to children without proper safety testimony. It's like putting a new drug on the market with no toxicology or safety trials. This goes on to my second point. The companies that do own all of these seeds, they prohibit from any sort of investigation of these seeds. They only allow to sell these only if they're grown and sold. And for all of the companies that are trying to find the defects of these GMOs, companies such as Monsanto, they don't allow to sell their seeds for investigation, which is kind of fishy because a lot of the investigations done by the companies to state that they are safe, they use a lot of jargon which many people don't understand, and they create these new terms for some diseases and try to make it sound good and safe. Economically, these crops don't necessarily mean a better harvest. There is actually an incident in India where it was, some people call the GM genocide, where these Indians were sold these seeds for 50% more and had failed twice. And a lot of these farmers from India that have been sold these seeds have committed suicide and have come up to a rate of 1,000 per month. And these seeds, when failed, they have to buy more because by the companies such as Hybrid and Monsanto, they create these seeds and they call them terminated seeds, where once they're grown, they don't produce any more seeds after the product dies. So it is required for the farmers to buy more seeds after production. And after a production is failed, they have no income. So what has happened, it has led millions of farmers into debt. And many of those have turned to suicide. As far as regulation goes, the FDA doesn't really regulate anything with these GMOs. They haven't done any studies themselves, and all the studies that they have gained have been gained from the companies such as Monsanto and Hybrid, and they have the ability to change any information. And it has been stated that the FDA hasn't even looked through these studies, and they just took it straight out.